You ever think about how much what we think of as just pure talent on a baseball field now actually comes from stuff you can't even see, like artificial intelligence and this crazy advanced data analysis?
Yeah.
Imagine being able to practically know what pitch is coming next.
Right.
Would that change how you see every single swing?
I think it would raise some pretty wild possibilities. Baseball used to rely so heavily on instinct and a scout's trained eye. Now you've got algorithms and predictive models in the mix, enhancing things in a big way.
For sure. And for this deep dive, we are stepping right up to the plate to understand how AI and analytics are changing the whole science of hitting in baseball.
Absolutely.
We've got some really cool stuff here showing how these technologies are going way beyond just your basic box score.
Our goal today is to break down the most important stuff from all these sources we've got, present it to you in a way that's interesting and easy to grasp.
Right.
By the end, we want you to have a really solid understanding of how all of this is changing the game, how players are training differently now, how teams are using these new tools to make decisions,
Yeah.
and ultimately, what it could all mean for the future of the game we love. All that, without getting too bogged down in the super technical stuff.
Okay, so let's do it. When we talk about the history of analyzing baseball, a lot of us probably think about the Moneyball days.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, that was a pretty big deal when it came to using data in decision making, I'd say.
Definitely a key turning point. I mean, the Moneyball approach really gained traction in the late 90s, early 2000s,
Yeah.
and it showed just how much untapped value there was in certain stats for evaluating players.
Yeah.
It was a wake-up call for a lot of teams, showing them there was so much more to learn beyond traditional scouting.
Right, right.
And the really fascinating part is just how much more sophisticated things have become since then.
For sure. I mean, you still got the traditional scouting,
Oh, absolutely.
where experienced scouts use their eyes to evaluate a player's skills and potential. You need those keen eyes out there still. But it seems like those old school methods are now being blended more and more with all this objective data, right?
Precisely. It's like having a super knowledgeable assistant coach who never misses a detail.
Right.
It's all about getting a much fuller picture of a player. Scouting brings in the crucial context, the human element, while data and AI provide the numbers, the metrics, and they can also pick up on trends that a human might not see right away. And that brings us to the really cutting-edge stuff, the actual AI tools being used on the field right now.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me.
Okay.
Because when we say AI in baseball, we're not just talking about some far-off concept.
Right.
These are real technologies being used by teams and players right now. So let's break it down, starting with how pitches are tracked now.
Pitch tracking is mind-blowing now. Systems like Rapsodo and TrackMan use radar and these super high-speed cameras to record tons of data on every single pitch thrown. We're talking velocity, spin rate. Even a small increase in spin rate, say 200 RPM, can make a hitter's average against that pitch go down noticeably. Then you have spin axis, movement. Every little thing is captured and analyzed. It's fascinating how this data allows teams and players to pinpoint exactly why a pitch is working or not.
It's not just about helping the pitcher, is it? I imagine this data is gold for hitters, too.
Oh, absolutely. Understanding a pitcher's tendencies, the details of their different pitches, it's like having a constantly updated scouting report, one that's customized for every single at-bat.
Wow.
Then you've got tools analyzing the batter's swing itself.
Right. So tell me about those.
Okay, so companies like Blast Motion and Diamond Kinetics have created these sensors that players can attach right to their bats. They're small, but they collect a huge amount of information about the swing, like how fast the bat is moving, the angle of the swing, the angle the bat makes contact with the ball, and how long it takes to connect.
That's incredible.
It's incredible. It lets hitters and coaches break down the swing in a way that just wasn't possible before.
Right.
It goes beyond feel and provides precise measurements.
So a hitter can see right there in black and white what they're doing well and what needs work. It's like getting a detailed performance review after every single swing they take. That's awesome. And AI isn't just looking at current performance, right? It's being used for predictions too, isn't it?
You got it. By looking at massive amounts of data from the past, player performance, injuries, even things like biometrics, they're developing AI algorithms to predict how a player might perform down the line
Wow.
and even identify potential injury risks before they become a problem.
That's wild.
I know. One really cool example is how AI is being used to analyze these subtle changes in a player's movement to predict lower body injuries weeks in advance.
Yeah.
The accuracy is pretty amazing. And that allows for preventative strategies, right? So we zoom out, it's all about optimizing player development and keeping those key players healthy and on the field.
That sounds like something right out of a sci-fi movie from a few years ago. And we're seeing this being adopted by some of the most forward-thinking teams, right? Like the Astros, the Dodgers.
Exactly. Those organizations have been real pioneers in using data to make decisions. They've been integrating analytics and AI into their player development, scouting, even in-game strategies. They see it as a big competitive advantage.
I bet.
And what's interesting is their success often pushes other teams to adopt similar approaches, so it kind of spreads throughout the league.
So we've established that there's this huge amount of data being collected and crunched. Let's get into how all of this is changing our understanding of the very act of hitting.
Okay.
Hitting is often called one of the toughest things to do in all of sports. How is analytics helping us make sense of this super complex skill?
So at its heart, hitting is all about biomechanics, how the body moves to generate power and make contact with this tiny, fast-moving object. Analytics lets us break those complex movements down into things we can measure. We can analyze stuff like how a hitter uses their hips and torso to create power, how efficient their swing path is, basically the route the bat takes through the zone, and the precise timing of their hand-eye coordination.
And that's where those specific data points we hear about come in, right? Things like launch angle, bat speed, and swing angles.
Exactly.
What exactly are they telling us, and how are they helping hitters get better?
They offer a lot of insight into how effective a swing really is. For example, launch angle, which is simply the upward angle the ball leaves the bat, has been shown through data to be strongly linked to hitting for power. Hitting the ball within a certain range of launch angles makes a home run way more likely. Similarly, bat speed is a big indicator of how much power a hitter can generate, and swing angle affects the initial trajectory of the ball. Understanding all of this helps hitters make tiny adjustments to their swing mechanics and get closer to the results they want.
So it's not just about swinging as hard as you can anymore.
No.
It's about swinging in a way that's both powerful and efficient, with the right angle and the right trajectory. And I imagine with all this data, machine learning plays a huge role in figuring out a hitter's weaknesses.
Absolutely. Think of machine learning here like a pattern recognition system on steroids. These algorithms can go through insane amounts of data from tons of hitters, identifying trends and connections that would just be too much for a human to process. By comparing a hitter's data against these established patterns of what makes a successful swing, AI can pinpoint the exact areas where they might be off, or where their mechanics could be more efficient. This allows them to create these highly personalized training programs.
It's like having a hitting coach who's studied the swings of every great hitter in history and can apply that knowledge directly to you. Pretty amazing. As we look ahead, what kind of impact do you think AI and analytics will have on baseball over the next 5, 10 years? How might it continue to change the game?
Well, the potential's huge. We'll probably see even more advanced player development programs that use AI to spot and cultivate talent at a much younger age. Game strategy will probably get even more data-driven, with real-time analytics influencing things like pitching changes, defensive positioning, even hitting matchups. I also think the fan experience could be taken to another level, with more in-depth, data-driven insights being woven into game broadcasts and what you see in the stadium, giving fans a much deeper understanding of the game.
It sounds like we're heading towards a future where almost everything that happens on the field is being analyzed and tweaked in real time. But that also raises some questions, doesn't it?
It definitely does. One thing we need to think about is the possibility of becoming too reliant on all this data-driven stuff.
Right.
It's important to remember that baseball is also about instinct, feel, and being able to adjust on the fly. We need to be careful not to lose that human element of the game.
Yeah, definitely. So just to sum up, we've talked about how AI and analytics are having a huge impact on the science of hitting, from pitch tracking and swing analysis, which give you this incredible level of detail,
Yeah,
to the predictive stuff that helps teams make smarter choices
right.
and ultimately shapes how players are training and performing on the field.
Exactly. It's giving us these never-before-seen insights into hitting. It's leading to better ways to train and a much deeper understanding of what makes a hitter successful.
It's wild. And as AI and analytics become even more intertwined with baseball, it really makes you think, will all of this make us appreciate the sport even more?
Right.
Will it help us understand the little details like we never could before? It's definitely something worth thinking about.
Definitely. And if you're interested in learning more about this cool intersection of tech and baseball, we encourage you to check out some of the tools we talked about today. Or maybe look into how your favorite team is using analytics. There's a whole new world of understanding waiting to be discovered.
Yeah, it's really fascinating stuff. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Until next time.
See you then.